This is Jason from Not Just Bikes, and no, Alan didn't blatantly rip off this idea from my video. We're working together on this series of suburbs that don't suck.
You heard him! Welcome to Bordentown, New Jersey, a suburb that certainly doesn't suck. Now, this place is definitely an oddity in the US. It's a town that's not only founded before the 1800s, but before the 1700s. This town gives us a good look at why only up until recently, walkability has always been a key building practice of every town on Earth. I'll show you why a place like Bordentown is great to use for inspiration on how to build a good town, and also the quirks and features of what make this suburban gem so special. Bordentown's first recorded settlement was in 1682, so yeah, it's hella old. Originally a trading post, it was named after Joseph Borden and was eventually incorporated into a town under the New Jersey colony in 1717. Bordentown is home to some of the US's founders and revolutionaries, most notably probably the only good revolutionary in our modern context, Thomas Paine. Paine not only lived in Bordentown, he also referred to it as his home in multiple of his writings. Paine can be argued to be one of the first proto-socialists that lived in the United States, obviously pretty based. In other history, Bordentown was at the center of some of America's oldest transportation networks. The Delaware and Raritan Canal had Lock Number 1 at Bordentown. Built in 1830 and was completed in 1834, it was one of the primary methods of moving coal to New York City until the 1900s. If you'd like to know more about that, I have a video about it here. Also at the same time, the first passenger railroad to use steam power in the United States was built through Bordentown. The Camden and Amboy Railroad was the first rail connection from Philadelphia to New York City. They also used the famous John Bull locomotives to pull their trains. A portion of the main line for the Camden and Amboy can still be found running through the center of Bordentown, used once in a while by a Conrail Shared Assets local freight train. But that's enough history. If I keep talking about it, I'll never stop, because this small town has so much of it. So now on to the reasons why I chose Bordentown for this video. As you can see by all the clips, there is a mixed-use downtown that's full of shops, stores, restaurants, and convenience items. This all comes within a 10 to 15 minute walking distance from all parts of the town, as you can see highlighted here. Along with the commercial downtown, Bordentown still has a train station. It's now served by the NJ Transit River Line, a frequently running diesel multiple unit service. You can see the train station here on the map, still within a 15-minute walking distance for majority of the town. This is in stark contrast to the lazy and badly planned car-dependent suburbs of modern-day North America. So I didn't pick any town in particular here, but I zoomed in on maps on a random suburb and took this screenshot. It's hard to find the few good suburbs because the US and North America is so plagued by the bad ones. But Bordentown is an interesting town to study. It was constructed before the use of zoning laws, building codes, and most importantly, cars. But not only was it constructed before cars, a large portion of the town was constructed before any form of transit besides horses existed or served it. Bordentown and every settlement like it shows that for a millennia we have been constructing towns and villages in the same way. The number one priority has always been walkability. This paradigm has really only changed since the end of World War II. Now, I'm not saying that we should return to Monkey, but I'm suggesting that our ancestors might have been onto something, especially now in a time when climate change is at the forefront of humanity's problems. Our ancestors sure didn't have a very large carbon footprint because they walked everywhere. If you're getting into urban planning, start learning about cities and towns that were constructed before transit was even a thing. You can learn a lot about why historic cities and towns were built in a certain way if you can imagine the only form of getting around was walking. Even our largest cities should totally be based entirely around walking and the human experience. Bikes, trains, and any cool form of transit should be a secondary thing, only there to support walkability. If you do live in what I'd consider a bad suburb, try to go out and visit one of these old small towns with a walkable core. You might just get some ideas of how to improve your own neighborhood based on what you saw and experienced there. The age of Bordentown and its ability to survive into the future for us to learn from goes well with a quote from Thomas Paine's book, Common Sense. So I will leave you with this. A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right, and raises at first a formidable outcry in defense of custom. But the tumult soon subsides. Time makes more converts than reason. There we go.